So welcome everyone. This is 7 o'clock and today is Saturday, the 21st of August. I am pleased to welcome everybody on today's program on the magnificent tigers of India. Today we have Vipul Gupta. He is a resident of Nagpur. He is an avid photographer, wildlife photographer. He has been working for the best of the tiger, for the benefit of the tigers, save the tigers. And especially he has worked a lot on the development of the villages and the tribals around the Kanha forest region. He is actually a mechanical engineer and he has his own factory and he's an industrialist. And in spite of being a very busy businessman, he has taken a lot of time out from his day-to-day life and working for nature. Something that we all should learn and implement it in our lives. So without much ado, I will now ask Vipul Gupta to introduce himself. And so Vipul, welcome to Gyanada, and we are happy to have you today. If you would like to introduce yourself a little more in detail, and you can begin your presentation by going to presentation mode. Vipul, please start.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope and pray that everyone is keeping safe. And I thank you, Farooq, my old friend, for relentlessly pursuing me to share the story of my journey with you all. Let me start by introducing myself. My name, as you now know, is Vipul Gupta. And I now divide my time between my two homes, one at Nagpur and one at Kanha. I grew up mostly in central India, and I still remember fondly how wildlife and jungles were everywhere. And there seemed such a great balance of everything. Over the last few years, I've been transitioning from being a business entrepreneur to more of a development sector professional. So as you can see, this was my past. I am a mechanical engineer. I used to work with mining equipment. So I used to work on mining equipment. You can see this large tire there. I used to work on maintaining the brakes of such equipment, travel the world. It was a different life altogether, a completely professional business life. And over the last few years, I started my transition, and this is what I look like now mostly. And my passion for wildlife and photography kept on taking me to the jungles of not just central India, but all over the country and around the world. I love nature and wildlife, and I've been dabbling at wildlife photography for a few years. So before we go ahead into something really serious and thought-provoking, let me take you on a short trip around the natural parks in India and some of those in Africa. So this is me in action when I'm out on a safari. This picture, I'll give you a brief of every picture when we are going through. This picture was made in Botswana. There were about 50 plus elephants who had come to this watering hole, and there were just two of us, me and my camera. Nothing else between the elephants and us and this water body. It was a magical evening, absolutely. This was shot somewhere in Africa. This was in Uttarakhand last month, full moon night. This was again in Botswana somewhere, a beautiful sunset, a bunch of elephants. This picture was made in Ranthambore. Ranthambore is arguably one of the most beautiful parks in the country, especially lending itself for tiger photography. The landscape, the colors there, they just work magic when you spot a tiger. And this is again from the same trip. This was a very special trip for me. I spotted about 11 tigers in 2 days. This is again from Ranthambore. Interesting. Yeah, this was a mother which is trying to teach its cub to behave. This guy was just walking off and mother was growling and wanting him to come back. He was not listening, so she jumped up and gave him a slap. This picture was made somewhere in Uttarakhand in the Sattal region. This is a region which is known for amazing bird life. You can spend one day and probably see more than 50 different types of birds. So if any of you is interested in birds, that's the place to head in India. Cheap and cheerful, easy to get, and easy sighting. This is in the savannas of Africa. In the evening glow, the sky just lights up. It becomes magical there. This was, I think, in Serengeti, Tanzania, and this lion, this young male lion, they look so beautiful when they are young with the golden mane. This guy just kept walking towards us in the early morning in the mist in the background. I don't think this needs much explanation. This is just a beautiful picture I could make, possibly because of the mist. Not actually mist, these were clouds and the sun was setting. So I got the opportunity to do this. This was on a lunar eclipse done at near Sariska National Park. It is actually 7 images superimposed in one frame, and it shows the complete lunar eclipse sequence. This special frame was made in Beda. Beda is about 100 and odd kilometers away from Udaipur, and arguably the best place in the world to see complete harmony between man and animal. The population of leopards is fantastic. This is not a national park, and people live in that area, and once in a while a leopard would take away livestock and people are not really bothered. They say usko bhi to khana chahiye. This was again in Sattal. This picture was clicked in Ranthambore again. This is that famous tiger T24, which was captured and put, I would say, behind bars or actually in a cage because of some allegations, unproven but probably true, of human kills that this tiger had resorted to. This image was made, these are 2 young sub-adult cubs. It was made in Tadoba. Tadoba National Park, south of Nagpur, is the place to go and see tigers if you're just interested in tigers. The landscape isn't very inspiring, but the sighting of tigers is amazing. This image was made actually using just an iPhone. It's unusual to see a lion climb up a tree. It's not very common. And so I got this opportunity while we were just driving back after a full day safari. Yeah, this is a very special image. This is called star trail photography. It's or astrophotography for most of the people who don't know about it. This is actually a superimposition of about 220 images made at the same spot over a period of 3 hours or so, dead of the night. As the Earth rotates, these spots that you would normally see as stars, when the Earth rotates, they form these trails, semicircular trails, which you see in this picture. This was made in Namibia, in the Namib Desert. This is a very emotional image for me. It was made in Corbett. As you can see, the mother is nudging the little baby to move ahead. The baby, the rear leg was injured, and the mother was continuously taking care and ensuring that the baby walked in front of the mother. I call this just a happy image. This guy was almost talking to us. This is a misty morning in the chilly winters of Kanha National Park. You get the mist, you get golden light, and it's amazing for photography. This is another misty morning in the forests of Kanha. What you see is a pair of barasingas. Barasinga has been brought back from near extinction in Kanha National Park by the efforts of the park authorities. And it is found only in 2 parks in the country. It's a very special animal. This was again shot in Beda. I was just fortunate when I was driving back after a whole day of shooting. This guy just popped up. I had a torch in my hand and I thought I'd seen a pair of eyes, and there he was. And he sat there, allowed me to make this picture. This image was made from a hide, which was, like an underground bunker somewhere in Africa, where I sat through the night waiting for mammals to come and drink water. I have some pictures of that also, but not in this compilation. And then early morning, I saw these birds come and drink water and splash around. This little cute cub, probably 2 to 3 months old, I saw him in Bandhavgarh National Park. He was one of a litter of 3. The mother, unfortunately, due to a territorial fight, which she lost her life. And one after the other, all the 3 cubs, they died. So yeah, that was about the pictures. And now let's come to talking about tigers and their ecosystem. Tigers, the most enigmatic of all creatures, continue to draw the attention of people around the world. In India, the tigers being the center stage of all life. You find them in temples, in gods and goddesses, dances, folklores, cultural practices, sculptures, paintings, in fact, everywhere. So that being the case, and knowing for a fact that there were more than 40,000 tigers at the turn of the century in India, why are we all struggling to save tigers from extinction? And what are really the key issues? Tigers, as you know, they are at the apex of the food chain. In the forest ecosystem, the tiger sits at the top as a tertiary carnivore and a primary predator. The interdependency of living forms in a food chain is obvious, as the wild tiger is dependent on herbivores for its survival, where he maintains their population, which in turn prevents the grasslands from getting overgrazed. The herbivores depend on grasses, herbs, shrubs, and large trees. And they in turn maintain a balance in vegetation by controlling the extent of vegetation. Birds survive on herbs, shrubs, trees, and fruits and nectar, and in turn act as seed dispersal agents and spread the population of the floral elements in an ecosystem. Thus, all forms of life in a biosphere, including the tiger, are interlinked with each other in an ecosystem, and their survival depends upon how intact the ecosystem is. If you remove the tiger from that, the entire ecosystem will start to fall apart. So what is really disturbing the balance? What is threatening the tigers and the biodiversity, and what are the real causes? The main causes are these: illegal and legal hunting of tigers and bushmeat, fortress-style conservation, Project Tiger is an example of that, linear and infrastructure projects, loss of habitat, human-animal conflict, biodiversity issues, especially related to forest-dwelling communities. Let's examine each of them one by one. Legal and illegal hunting. Till the 1960s in India, you could actually legally hunt down any animal that you want for joy, for sport, for fun, or for money. And tens of thousands of tigers were killed in this fashion. These are some really disturbing images. Look at this, a shop selling tiger parts. Look at this, so many tiger and leopard skins caught from poachers. Let's look at some statistics. At the turn of the century, maybe more than 40,000 tigers in India alone. In 1960, 2,000 were reported, were actually less than that. Cost of a tiger skin in 1950 was rupees 300 in Delhi markets. And there were over 500 shops selling tiger materials in Delhi. Cost of tiger skin, 2000 was 5 lakhs or more, and cost of a tiger skin across the border in China today would be over $100,000. So there is demand. So in the late 60s, when all this happened, and the census showed that there is a possibility of tiger going extinct in India, the government of India stepped in, and Indira Gandhi announced that there would be a complete ban on tiger hunting as well as tiger trade. Can you imagine? Hundreds of petitions were filed in the Delhi High Court against this law. Fortunately, the Delhi High Court turned it down at that point of time, and tiger hunting was banned, which was a great thing to happen, because then the tigers were safe, at least in their own habitats. 9 Project Tigers were set up initially, and they were meant specifically to protect the tigers in their own habitat. And today the count has gone up to almost 50 such Project Tiger operations in the country. This is what we normally call as the fortress style of conservation, where the national parks have been made involute for all others and seek to protect only the park and its animals inside, with very little concern of anything else around the park. But by itself, and in terms of protecting the tiger, Project Tiger has been really successful. The numbers have increased. The government of India, the Forest Department, and many NGOs working to conserve the tiger, they've done a wonderful job, and credit is due to them. So as you can look here, from 2006 to 2019, the population has gone up almost 100%. And right now, we probably have more than 3,500 tigers out in the wild. Let's talk about the next issue, the linear projects. Linear projects, just like we need our roads and canals and other stuff, let's say roads to go from one city to the other, animals also need corridors for them to migrate from one area to the other area to remain alive and to thrive. But mining projects, linear projects, such as high tension lines, roads, infrastructure projects such as dams, canals, break these corridors which connect the wildlife, and then they become killers of wildlife. Look at these disturbing images. Some of these images which I'm throwing up are not mine. They've been taken from public domain, and credit is due to all the people who have actually taken these images. Look at this. So the tiger is threatened in this fashion also. So while development is very important keyword for us humans, we also need to be sensitive to the needs of preserving the biodiversity. And much to the relief, the thought and planning process for new projects seems to be changing. And at least some of the new projects in India are taking into account the mitigation measures which are so desperately needed. A case in point is the National Highway number 44. Can you imagine? This is a road quite close to my house here. It's between Sydney in Madhya Pradesh and Nagpur in Maharashtra, a 37-kilometer road which has 5 underpasses, long underpasses, and about 4 smaller bridges. A 37-kilometer stretch passing through thick forest allows the traffic to get through, but look at this. It also allows the wildlife to get through. So this is the need of the hour. And again, credit to the authorities, credit to the NGOs, credit to people who have been, shouting and fighting for such things. And here we see a success story. But as I told you, increasing tiger population has its own challenges. As the habitat shrinks and the human population increases, the habitats start to become like islands. Look at these pictures. This is a Google image of Kanha National Park, Google Earth image, right? How green it looks. I zoom out a little bit. You start to see the browns. These are the fields or the villages. You start to see the roads. I zoom out a little more. Kanha Tiger Reserve now looks like a tiny island surrounded by brown patches, roads cutting through, farmland, villages, and towns. Yeah, what happens then? Every male tiger needs at least 100 square kilometers of territory for surviving, within which it might allow about 2 to 3 females to live in its territory. But if tigers keep on increasing in this fashion and the parks become islands, the way you see that on the screen right now, what will happen? They start fighting amongst themselves. Some get killed, the others have to move out. When they start to move out, they don't find corridors. Corridors have been taken away. Then what happens is what we call the man-animal conflict. A pregnant tigress in Maharashtra choked to death, paws chopped. Tiger kills one in Chandrapur, toll now 25. Tiger kills woman in Chandrapur. This conflict is severe, and this happens because of increasing population of human beings, more demand for agriculture, grazing pastures, wood, and other forest products. Loss of habitat, people walking into forests, broken corridors, decreased prey base, bush hunting, easy access to domestic animals for food, all these result in man-animal conflict. Have any of you seen the new Vidya Balan show movie, Sherni? It truly captures this aspect of the situation. So the question is not whom to blame, but what can be done to address these issues. So while there are several NGOs, the Forest Department, and the laws that address and help with the fortress style of conservation, it has its own advantages. There's no doubt about it. But the issue of man and animal conflict mitigation largely remains unaddressed, except for compensation that they can get from the government when their cattle are taken down or a person dies or something like that. Look at this, poaching. Probably the trap was for bushmeat. Look at this. A tiger was electrocuted by the villagers. So when the parks were made and made involute, the forest dwelling communities had to move out. Some of these communities had no knowledge of the outside world, did not know the basic farming techniques even, and found themselves completely at loss. Their original lands were taken away, with often uncultivable small patches given to them with little or no water source. There was no upskilling done. There was no livelihood guarantee of any kind. For hundreds of years, these people survived on forests for their livelihood, taking what they needed and protecting the forests all along with the animals. Their food, their medicines, their livelihood, everything came from the forests. If these communities were the original protectors of the forests for centuries, suddenly they were declared villains. They were not allowed to get in, They were not allowed to play a role to keep the forest pristine. And that is where this real conflict started. Their education level is extremely poor. Their income levels extremely low. And issues like these have forced the forest dwelling communities to resort to illegal hunting, tree felling, petty crime, falling prey to Naxalite movements, and also migrating to cities where they get terribly exploited. So while the government made the laws to protect the forest and the forest departments did their jobs, foundations and NGOs, they aggressively work for protecting the tigers. There weren't many people who were addressing the cause of these special people, the forest dwelling communities who were displaced from their own lands. It was with this view that I established Earth Focus Foundation. The vision of which is to shape a Kanha landscape where people and nature thrive together. We work in and around the Kanha National Park. Earth Focus Kanha was born out of a belief that empowering tribal communities is the key to Kanha's conservation in the long run. We work with the forest dwelling communities so that they can live with dignity and harmony with nature. Our mission is to empower forest dwelling communities through contextual education and nature-based livelihoods. This is like a training session for the community mobilizers at our office near the Mukki Gate of Kanha National Park. Our education interventions, even though the schools have not been opened for the last 1.5 years, we've gone into the communities and our people continue to work with the children in their homes or what we call as learning hubs. Another picture of the same thing. Introducing agroforestry so that, and that too at this level, involving the children so that they learn what is good for them in the long run for the biodiversity. This was a bamboo plantation exercise done just a few days back. Women empowerment is key also, that we take a lot of pride in the fact that we involve women folk first before we even talk to the men there in the villages and try to involve them in all the decision making that they have to do for themselves. So our journey is long, it's difficult, but we've dedicated ourselves to this task and believe that with the right inputs over a sustained period of time, we will see the Kanha landscape that God really had created originally and play our role in that. And if this has sparked any curiosity inside of you to know more, please contact us. If this has sparked a desire to help and support our work at Earth Focus, please come forward. And if any of you wishes to come to Kanha and enjoy the pristine forest, see tigers up close, and also maybe interact with our team and see the work that we are doing, please feel free to contact us. One day you'll wake up and you won't have time to do the things that you've always wanted to do. Do it now. Yeah, thank you everyone. And now I'm open to any questions or anything else that you people may want to know about.
Hello there.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, I have few questions.
Yes, please.
If you don't mind, can you give us a little more in terms of technical details of photography? I mean, you have spanned quite a bit from birds to animals to astrophotography, and it would be helpful if you could give us a little more technical details to what cameras are you using, what shutter speeds are you using, what filters you are using. That would be very useful and helpful.
Yeah. Okay. I was once at a party where, somebody said to the host, this dish is absolutely delicious. Which oven do you use? So yeah, photography is not really much about equipment, although I'll tell you what I use. Photography is about, especially nature photography, and when it comes to wildlife photography, is learning about the behavioral aspects of the animals, about the habitat, and a lot of patience. A lot of patience. You can, I consider myself lucky if I make one good picture in a full day of roaming around in a forest. I may shoot 100, but if I get one good picture which depicts an animal's behavior or the habitat, and if it's seen at ease in its surrounding, that's what you want to capture. I prefer to use Nikon cam equipment. I have 3 bodies, 2 full frame, one and a host of lenses actually, depending upon what I'm shooting, where I'm shooting, right from astro onwards to where I have a wide angle lens to a telephoto lens 400 prime. Yeah. And I'm self-taught really. I haven't gone through any course or anybody else teaching me. The practice teaches you.
Thank you very much.
Vipul, what has been your wait time? I mean, what is the longest that you've waited in a location? Okay, now the animal would come, it'll come for watering or it'll come for feeding.
The longest wait was at a hide in South Africa. I got in at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, came out next morning at about 7 o'clock. Couldn't use the loo, couldn't eat anything except take sips of water. And throughout the night, I was sitting there with my camera.
And is it that you work alone? I can see that you're not a part of a photography group that goes out. I can see that you're a loner there. Am I right?
Yeah, sort of. I have a bunch of buddies who we join up together to have more fun after the day is done.
Yes.
But I prefer to shoot alone.
Okay. And what you are saying, 1 out of 100 is a success rate, which is great. I mean, you'll be very happy if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're more lucky, sometimes not at all.
Mm. And what is the point where in your outings you found that you were in real danger, that the animal was very close to you, or you were attacked by some other animal, or you were so hungry or something, you're ill or whatever? Yeah.
Let's get one thing straight. An animal will attack only when it's threatened or
Right.
when it considers something as food.
Mm.
So let's say you encounter a tiger and it's up close also. If you're not disturbing it and it doesn't feel threatened, it certainly knows that you're not food. It won't do anything to you.
Mm-hmm. So they are aware that there's somebody out, outside.
Absolutely. Especially inside the parks, because they've been born and brought up in these parks where they see people come and go.
Mm-hmm.
To them, can you imagine thinking what a tiger must be thinking? Oh, here comes another gypsy. Now they're going to stop. They're going to do click, click, click. They're going to say tiger, 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 and then they're going to drive off.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we have some people who have raised their hand. I have Tejaswini, again, my classmate who has raised her hand. Would you like to say something, Tejaswini? Tejaswini, I've allowed you to put your mic on. Can you put your mic on and speak, Tejaswini? Okay, so till then, we have another person, Kirtin Kumar, who has requested to speak. So Satish Khoth also wants to say something. So please put on your mics. I'm allowing everybody to talk who has raised their hands.
Vipul, till then, just one small question is, you don't shoot video, right? This is only stills.
Mostly stills, yeah.
Okay. I'm stunned. I mean, I'm absolutely stunned. I've never seen photography like yours. This is just amazing. And
Thank you very
in
much.
a daily, we spend about 150, 200 photographs, 400 photographs. We keep looking at it. Na? Chalta hi rehta hai. But your photography just left me absolutely stunned. This is amazing. Yes,
Okay.
please go ahead. Yeah.
Apurva, Nargish D'Souza.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I would like to know in 2019, 2,900 approximately was the census of the tigers. If there was no poaching altogether, what do you think the count of the tigers would be in 2021?
Look, poaching is not the only reason which tigers die off. So, as I told to you, explained to you, linear projects, road kills, form of man-animal conflict, everything, basically, I would say limits the tiger growth, tiger population growth. So, if you want to say that if these things had not happened, what would be the population of tigers? Or what would, other way around, let's say if these things were ideal and the corridors were there and all the parks in India which could possibly sustain tigers, had tigers, then probably India has the potential to be home to a population of about 10,000 tigers. That is what the experts say.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
तुमको बोला है ना रात को नहीं धोने का.
Farooq, shall I speak?
Yeah, please.
Vipul, I'm Satish Khoth. I'm very much into environment protection, etc. I've been fighting for that in Pune. But I have been to Ranthambore and early morning I've gone, no luck. Again the next day, early morning I've gone, no luck at all. Haven't seen a tiger. A year and a half back, just before the lockdown, I'd gone to Kanha. Kanha has a deputation of building from 0 down to 52 tigers there.
Yes.
And the person who did it was had become a friend of mine, and he had organized for us to go. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But guess how many tigers I saw? 0. Well, I know it is just luck. It happens. It doesn't happen like that. So, Kanha, what would be the best time to come?
Look, for tiger sighting anywhere in the country, the best time is the peak summer time because the bushes are down, the grass is down, it's not so green. The few watering holes that there are, the tigers will come up to the watering holes.
And is it possible to book things for Kanha? How do you book?
Yeah, it's online booking, sir. MP online.
MP online. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Almost all the parks in the country now, all the bookings are done online.
Thank you very much. What I would like to do, I would like to come to Kanha. Hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed that next summer things will be better and we'll be able to travel. I would like to go there. And even if I don't get photographed, but I sight a tiger, our heart will be in the right place. Okay. Thank you. And all the very best for you, Vipul.
Thank you.
I would like now Mustafa to ask a question. Mustafa?
Yeah, I had that question, but it has already been asked about what is the best time to visit a sanctuary, and it has already been answered. So I've lowered my hand. Thank you very much, Vipul. Excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir. But I want to add one thing more here. The best time to do anything, if it wasn't yesterday, then it is today.
Nice way to put it. Thank you.
Sandhi would like to add something. You have been putting something on the chat box. Would you like to add something?
I am connecting to my experiences.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. No. I think your camera your mic should be near your mouth.
No, it is. Now you can hear me.
Yeah.
I think all I'm going to say is I'm intrigued because a long time ago when I was in India, I spent quite a bit of time. My mama's side are all from Nagpur, Akola, Amravati, and I had a chance to go to a coal cast project near Amravati and spent a considerable time there because one of my engineering college friends' father was a chief conservator of forest, and that allowed me to see this wildlife. Except we were middle class people, and I didn't have a camera. Probably I had one of those old simple cameras, and you really worried a lot about how many pictures you were taking. And I see your wonderful pictures. They're exceedingly beautiful, National Geographic quality. So I'm thoroughly impressed at the amazing pictures you have taken. Hats off to you. Uh, I just uh, I just feel like I was thinking in the back of my mind, what could you do? Maybe literally go from town to town, physically, in every city, village, town in India, do little shows and communicate that on a personal level. I know there is virus and all, but a stage will come maybe next year. Do you think that's in your itinerary, future itinerary, to go literally from town to town and educate people from ground up?
Thank you so much for the wonderful suggestion. I will surely consider it. I was toying with the idea, but now having heard it from someone else, I think it's worth the trouble, and I will look at doing what can be done in this fashion. As of now, I spend a lot of time on the ground working with the people there, the locals there, and it will be a pleasure to have you, Sandy, visit us sometime and see what we're trying to do.
I'm trying hard to get to Nagpur. If virus was not there, I would have been there.
So we have Freddie. Freddie, do you wish to speak?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Freddie, I'll introduce you to Freddie. He's one of our main honorary photographers of Gyanadham. He's an avid photographer and industrialist. Freddie, please speak to people.
Yeah. Hi, Vipul. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Regarding a few things that were discussed by you and the questions asked by a few of the people before this, somebody asked about the cameras that are normally used. For,
option icon instead of that is the problem.
now,
Please keep quiet.
can you hear me?
Unmute ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ನಾನು unmute.
Hello.
Yeah.
So the most famous camera today in the market, or preferred by all wildlife photographers, is a Nikon D500 with a 200-500 lens. That is the most popular at the moment.
It's popular, not the most desirable.
No, not a fixed lens is always much better than the rest. That is for sure. But this is what is within reach of quite a few people.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that's why it's more popular. People have shifted from Canon to Nikon because of this reason. And secondly, I have been to Tadoba, I have been to Paints quite a few times, and sighting was almost in all the trips that I've been there, and good sighting. I don't know whether you are in favor of these sanctuaries or not, because you spoke only about Kanha. That's why I'm asking you this.
I spoke about Kanha where my work takes me.
Okay.
Because I couldn't possibly start my work everywhere. Kanha is very close to my heart. I've been going there for the last 40 plus years.
Okay.
But I go to all the other parks, yeah. But what was really your question? I mean, just wanted to know what you wanted to ask me.
That Satish said that we had been to quite a few places and didn't find a single tiger. But
don't ever go with Satish.
No, not at all. No, we go on. We are a group of three of us, a group of photographers. we go to Tadoba and Paints quite often, almost every year. Last year we didn't do it because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Even I suppose we are planning a visit even maybe next month or month later than this. So we'll be going there again. But for every expedition that I went, I found tigers and found them at very close quarters.
Yeah.
So it is not that you don't see them, you do see them. And you see them for quite some time, not that a passing shot or something of that sort.
Okay.
So that is what I would like to say. If people who are interested to go, they can go there and have a look.
I would now request Kannan Sundarajan if he wants to say something.
Thank
Kannan?
you.
You can unmute.
Thank you, Farooq.
Please unmute yourself, Kannan.
I have unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Vipul. I think it's a very enlightening, very educative, and very illustrious presentation you have given us. I'm a great fan of people who love animals.
Can you speak a little loudly, Kannan?
I said I'm a great fan of. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm a great fan of people who love nature. And Vipul, I think I have a couple of observations, no questions actually. I would like you to mention something about Bandhavgarh. I spent a lot of time in Bandhavgarh in Madhya Pradesh, and it was very difficult to sight a tiger, like you mentioned. So I sympathize with people who have not seen tigers, and I empathize with you for spending so much time to catch a tiger. And it's very, very enlightening. And your photographs are simply awesome. What you use, what you don't use is different, but I think I've never seen such a lovely presentation. I have a lot of people who post a lot of photographs to me because I love nature, and I must thank profusely. I must thank Farooq, for having thought of me and thought of many people like me, and thanks to you, Vipul, for a lovely, 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 impeccable presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So when it comes to Bandhavgarh, I'll just give you a little thing about Bandhavgarh. Is it's a beautiful forest. It's got a fort inside the forest. It's got temples from an era where it's got a Vishnu idol lying on its back in the middle of the forest. It's a place that you would really want to go. But when you talk about sightings in Bandhavgarh probably again ranks as high as Tadoba in terms of tiger sightings. And as you exit the park, there's a board which says, "Don't worry if you haven't spotted a tiger. At least 6-8 tigers must have spotted you."
Very nice one. Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
but we spotted a tiger finally, but my camera was not ready for it, unfortunately, and I got only the exit portion of it across the road. So I was very upset because, in fact, I was less upset compared to the others because others didn't even get to do that. So thank you so much.
Undi Krishnan wanted to, he has raised his hand. Undi Krishnan, would you like to unmute yourself and talk? Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Vipul, and thanks to Gyanadab. Been waiting for this for the last 1 week or so. And I'm a true blue Malayali, and today happens to be Onam. But
Onam, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vipul. And I didn't want to miss this, and just wanted to say that it's been absolutely enlightening and marvelous, and just reminded me of my my cycle ride from Jabalpur, where I was doing a course all the way to Kanha in 1997.
Oh, wow.
And,
wow.
Yeah. So, another thing I wanted to, which I'm trying to inculcate to my son is, in fact, I started out with William Blake's famous poem. And I don't know how many of these people out here were chatting incessantly, which has been a real irritation. I would request Mr. Farooq, at least next time, we should ensure that only people who are interested should be able to chat.
Yeah. So no, actually, there is a setting in the Zoom webinar.
All right.
Which I realized I should have done, which I didn't do. But once the program starts, I don't like to go back and change any setting because I might disturb what's going on.
Because here
I realized today.
Yes, Mr. Farooq.
Yeah.
In fact, like I said, I've been
every time you learn something new.
Absolutely, Mr. Farooq. And thanks to my profession, I have been in places where I've been in touch with wildlife. My last tiger sighting was, of course, quite a long time back. But I am really enthused, and I'm so happy that I could hear this. Your photographs are absolutely out of the world, especially the one I think it was the Masai Mara or in the Serengeti, that the lion on the tree.
Yeah,
that was something else. Just one little thing which I wanted to ask you was that I've been reading up on stuff. Ever since I've been walking, especially with regard to wildlife. So AJT Johnson's book, which I just read about a month back, talking about it. The book is Walking the Western Ghats. It's a seminal work. I recommend this to people.
Yeah.
People who you must read it if you're part of this nation and if you love this country. I mean, at least it's wildlife. This is an amazing book. What I wanted to ask you, Mr. Vipul, was just this, that the issue, he mentions that after Karnataka, I mean, after Madhe, not even Madhe, much before that, from that side onwards to North Maharashtra and beyond, there is hardly any tigers in the Western Ghats. I mean, he talks about it, and in fact, I checked out with a friend of mine who's also a photographer. So this book was written some time back, but he says it's still a fact. Like, I have been here all around Radhanagari and Radhanagari, for example, and Amboli, etc. But because of corridor break, he says, and also for the fact, he says that the forest department isn't very proactive the way it should be in, say, in Karnataka and Kerala, Tamil Nadu, etc. So I don't know if you could say, enlighten us on that.
Let's not put the blame on a department or a set of people. The fact still remains that tiger dispersion was practically all over this country at one point of time around the turn of the century. And today it thrives only in some pockets. It also is a fact that wherever tiger has vanished completely from, it's been very difficult to bring back the tiger in that ecosystem. And there are several reasons, as I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, lack of corridors, the prey base, the habitat, how it is surrounded by human population, linear projects, everything has a role to play. So there have been cases where tigers have walked 350 kilometers plus to find food, water, and a mate. But that's nature. Thing about Western Ghats is that the prey base just isn't there. The tiger specifically needs herbivores, which needs grasslands. The Western Ghats are hilly areas. Predators such as leopards thrive better in such conditions.
So right, Mr. Vipul, and probably I think you've given your number in this. I won't bother you much, but probably maybe next time when I plan a ride or something towards Kanha, I might look you up. It'll be an honor.
Absolutely, it will be an honor and a pleasure, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You can always contact Janada. My number is there. I have put it in the creatives which I sent you for the invitation. My phone number is there in each of them, so you can just send me a WhatsApp message. I'll connect you to Vipul immediately.
Roger, sir. Roger.
There is this Dr. Barucha who wants to talk, and I think twice he asked.
One minute. I'll just give him permission to 1 minute. Dr. Barucha,
yeah, Dr. Barucha.
Yeah, Barucha. No, there is no Barucha. What is his first name?
It just says Dr. Barucha. I can see the question and answers.
Yeah, I will. Please unmute yourself, Barucha, sir. Dr. Barucha.
Hi, good evening to you. Vipul, pictures. I'm a wildlife photographer for the last 55 years.
Oh, wow.
What was nice about your presentation was, though you called it magnificence of tigers, you brought in other species as well. And it's becoming an increasing concern for old-time wildlifers that you get more and more tourists. The pressures of tourism are increasing now, and it is a bit of a problem. And one would like to see people understand the habitat, understand the needs of wildlife and biodiversity, and look at much more broader implications than, oh, I've got 20 pictures of a tiger. So this is something that your presentation did bring in a bit, and thank you for that.
Thank you very much, sir.
Can I ask one question, Vipul?
Yeah, please go ahead.
What are your future plans for the tiger? I know you're a leader in that area in your part under earthfocus.org. What is the purpose of Earth Focus, and what are your plans in the future for the tigers and for the habitat staying next to the village? What are your future projects?
Look, as I mentioned earlier on, I believe that, tiger by itself doesn't survive. There has to be a habitat, a complete biodiversity ecosystem in place. So in the long run, unless you make the communities, the forest dwelling communities which were ousted from these forests, a part of the conservation program, things like poaching, things like electrocution, things like illegal hunting, felling of trees, running into trouble with the authorities, more need of land for agriculture. These things can't be checked unless the communities are involved. And that is where Earth Focus comes in. Earth Focus is not a fortress style conservation organization. Earth Focus works for the communities and with the communities to educate them about biodiversity, to help them uplift their livelihood income levels, but basically still depending upon whatever locally can be produced and consumed.
So how many people are around you who are helping you as volunteers, as paid people? What is it, Earth Focus, and how you get your work done?
Okay, Earth Focus was started under 2 years ago, actually, when the lockdown happened, just before the lockdown happened. So it's a small baby, I would say, and we have 10 full-time employees and a few mobilizers from the villages already working with us. And we intend to continue to build this organization organically, but idea being, train and work with the local people. It is difficult, it is time consuming, but that's what we intend to do.
Hey, Farooq.
As of now, we have, our engagement is with about 5,500 individuals, 1,200 children. Yeah, we go out and work on education intervention with almost 1,200 children on a daily basis.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you will take them. Yeah. Please speak.
Rishima is waiting to speak.
Rishima? Okay, let me get her into place. Rishima Acharya, right?
Yeah.
Rishima, please unmute yourself and please speak.
Hello, I hope you can hear my voice. My name is Rahul Acharya and I'm Rishma's father.
Okay.
Am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Mr. Vipul, thanks for this fantastic presentation. And I'm not an exception. Fantastic photographs. I requested you to, if it is possible, if you can replay those photographs as first request. Everyone is appreciating that and seeing those.
I also want to.
Seeing those.
Can you play this?
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Let's have those photographs again.
I have a question, sir. Sorry. I would like to see the photographs once again, and even you play it for more than once, that is also okay with us. But the question is, many people raised a point here that they visited Kanha, they visited Ranthambore, and they couldn't sight tigers. My problem was also same. I have visited at least 3 or 4 national parks in India couple of times, and I'm not as lucky as you are. And I am really trying to see if I can get proper guidance where I can go to some of the national parks where we can sight the tigers and all. Finally, I thought that if not in India, outside India, probably I will get an opportunity to see a tiger. But I could see a problem there, like there are zones, and some zones where tigers are in the national parks, and some zones where the tigers are sighted quite frequently, and some zones are the place where they are not sighted at all. Like in Jim Corbett, Sitawani is the zone I visited twice, and I was not able to see a single tiger. So do you have any specific point on this also, that how we can go, when we can go, and which zone we should visit so that we can see a tiger?
Okay, while I'm not, and I'm a straightforward person, just as Dr. Barucha had mentioned a few minutes ago, let's not be very tiger focused, But I do understand that people who have not seen a tiger, for them, you can't take it out of their heads unless they've done that. So let's put it straight. 2 summer months, go to Ranthambore or Tadoba National Park, do at least 3 to 4 safaris, and you will certainly get tigers.
Can we connect with you? You have given your email ID. Can we connect with you and try to?
Anytime, please.
Okay.
For
Thank you.
anything related to it.
Before we see the slideshow, Vipul, my very close classmate Arun Thomas wants to speak to you. Arun, would you like to say something?
Yes, can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Vipul, thank you for a wonderful presentation and fantastic photography. I'd like to share our experience. We as a family had gone to Kanha about 20-25 years back, and we were staying inside Kanha. And as soon as we checked in, these guides came saying that, would you like to go with us in the morning? So we fixed up with one of them. Early morning, they came in their jeep and took us. And we went round and round. Of course, we didn't see any tiger. But these people, the guides, were in touch with someone over a walkie-talkie. Those days, there were no mobiles. They were in touch over the walkie-talkie, and they used to get some instructions, and they say, no, the tiger's been sighted somewhere, and they used to take us there, and nothing would be there. Then they say, no, we have got another sighting, and they would take us there, and again, nothing over there. In the way, we used to see small animals, but not the tiger. Finally, after about 2.5 hours, they said, yes, now we have a sighting. And they took us there. And conveniently, very, very conveniently, there was an elephant standing over there. And they said, you have to get onto the elephant. And they took us about 25 or 30 meters on the elephant. And there were two drugged, they looked drugged, tigers lying around there. And they said, there's your tiger. And so it was quite a sad experience. But is that common with other visitors too?
I'll tell you a few things here. One is that you have been one of those few fortunate people to have stayed inside the park.
Okay.
The use of walkie-talkies is prevalent even today. Mobile phones are not allowed. The walkie-talkies are used by the forest people only.
Okay.
The information that these people at that point of time, I'm talking about that point because I've also been going to Kanha since those days,
okay,
was almost always correct. If somebody had spotted a tiger movement or seen pug marks or seen any other telltale signs, it would be conveyed to the rest of the forest people over the walkie-talkie and everybody could listen to.
Okay.
This doesn't mean that the tiger is going to wait for us to arrive. The tiger is usually a shy animal, keeps moving, unless what you call it's drugged. Now, it's not drugged. It was probably overfed.
Okay.
Once a tiger has had its fill, it will normally lay around not too far from the carcass for some time. And that's where you spotted it. The so-called elephant show that you have witnessed and we've all seen so many times has been discontinued now across all the parks in the country. You can't go on an elephant back to watch a tiger. There are elephant joy rides available, and you have to be extremely lucky to spot a tiger from that because they go around a regular beaten track.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Now,
Vipul,
yeah, please, Sandeep.
No, there is a question by Chinmay online. What can a common man do to save a tiger?
Oh, wow. What can a common man do to save a tiger? There are many things that we can all do to save tigers. We can, let's say one is tourism. Tourism helps bring money and livelihood to the people who are involved in conserving the tigers, protecting the tigers. It raises the awareness. You take a picture and you show it to friends and put it on social media. It raises the awareness and it raises the dialogue that happens, which helps again bring attention to the cause of saving tigers. You can be involved with NGOs which are in working towards tiger conservation or other programs like ours which are not directly related to tiger conservation but going in a circuitous fashion to ensure that the tigers are conserved. So yeah, lots of ways to do it really. Step out of your comfort zone and there's a lot of things that you can get involved with.
Okay, Vipul, I think we have finished. I would like you to quickly go through your presentation and show your photographs again, and then I would like to make the concluding remarks and end the program.
Sure.
Start from the first photograph. That's the best one.
White one.
The eyes one, yeah. That is so brilliant. Going to presentation mode. How far did you take this photograph from, Vipul?
I've cropped it. It wasn't shot that close. You can understand that.
But you can see the clarity of the eyes. They're scary, man.
Yeah, he wasn't too far from me. He was
Wow.
right. Yeah, this is what we call as a head-on shot.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Okay, I'll go ahead to
Please do.
pictures now. Yeah. I'll not go around explaining all of them again. I'll just...
No. You can just, just short comments.
No,
Hey, Vipul,
what I said, I'll skip comments so that you can absorb the picture more.
So while
This
while
one
people are,
was the reflection in the water.
Pardon me?
Vipul,
Reflection in the water.
Yeah, there's reflection in the water. This is the water body across from where I was shooting.
This is in India?
No, this was in Botswana.
Botswana. Go to the next.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is okay.
hey, while you're showing the pictures, a lady or maybe kids, Saujanya is asking, like Sanctuary Asia magazine has Kids for Tiger program. Do you have organized such programs for school students?
Yes.
She's a point teacher.
Yes, I'm associated with a publication called Savus, SAEVUS. You can check us out on Instagram or Facebook or online. And we conduct quiz sessions and eco quizzes across the country for children. Some interesting stuff is coming up. Please check that out. If you need more information, send me an email.
Another lady, Tulsi, is asking, how many tigers were approximately killed?
Nobody has a count, sir. At the turn of the century, there were more than 40,000. Today, there are 3,000. So, you can take your guess.
Okay. Behavior.
This was a wonderful sequence. Actually, I have a full sequence. Some other day, I'll share it with you guys.
Lovely. Wow. This
While
is
you are
Africa.
showing, this is beautiful.
Yeah, and most of my pictures are not heavily edited or processed. They're mostly as shot.
Wow.
Other gentle folks are asking if you would mind putting your number in the chat box.
I would suggest that, Santi, if they can note down my number, which is there in all the invites that I made, because I would like to see that, Vipul gets messages through me. Otherwise, he'll be flooded with.
Sure. Also, while we are seeing the pictures, did you encounter any scary situations where you felt threatened?
No, never.
Wow.
Because I'm at ease when I'm in the parks.
You're part of the...
You see, if you feel scared, your body emits, whatever stuff it could be called, which will signal to the animal that you are alarmed, and which will alarm the animal also. If you are relaxed, the animal will be relaxed.
Very correct. Very correct. I've been told that. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Be calm.
So where was this picture taken?
This was taken in Namibia, sir. Namibia has the darkest skies on planet Earth amongst all countries. If you want to do astrophotography, there's no place like Namibia.
Oh, that's great one.
The only country where the desert meets the sea.
Yes, the desert meets the sea. And the highest sand dunes, the oldest desert, and the old Atlantic Sea, ocean is beautiful.
In Namibia, there are paintings which are nearly 7,000 years old.
Yeah.
This is also good.
This is a happy picture.
This is the happy picture.
So tall.
Vipul, I just want to let you know, I don't want to start religious wars here, but I am from the religion called Nikon. So if anybody wants to take up religious wars with Nikon versus Canon, I'm with you.
Nikon versus Canon.
Oh yeah, the wars can be legendary, huh?
Are you hinting at me?
Freddy's upset.
Are you hinting at me?
By the way, when I was in Kolkata near Amaravati, I remember seeing a place where it said, if you want to shoot with your camera, not with your rifle.
Very, very true. That's the right thing to do.
Okay, I think
Vipul, may I come in here?
Who is there?
Dr. Eretz Parucha.
Tell me.
Vipulji, I think we have to start encouraging these growing numbers of tourists and going into, the smaller areas, the smaller protected areas, wetlands, grasslands, so that this pressure of tourism now, which is becoming very serious, and there's a lot of change in animal behavior that is occurring, which hasn't been sufficiently documented. So people like you need to do this. You're young and are still able to do this. I may not be able to do that anymore. Incidentally, I've done 111 protected areas in India.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Record holder, sir.
Which is why we want people to go to these other smaller places.
Yeah, it is beginning to happen now. We can see it happen, but still the tiger focused tourism.
Yes, I mean, it happens to me also after so many years. So I can't blame anybody for that. It's very exciting to see tigers. But we need to do something about the growing pressures on tiger protected areas.
So, Vipul, I think today we have had a wonderful program. We are now there for more than more than an hour, 15 minutes. And I think Dr. Barucha has been in Gyanadam sometime, I remember.
Many times. In fact, I've had a show on Gyanadam on the tribal photography that I've done. I've done 2 books on tribals, which you all released.
Because this
I also have 3 volumes on wildlife in India.
Wow. So we should get Dr. Barucha once on the program as part of our Gyan.
Yes, absolutely.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Barucha ji. And if you can put your phone number in the chat, it will be good for us to contact you here. Okay, so if with the permission of all the panelists, I would like to thank Vipul ji for a wonderful program on behalf of Gyanadam. And the thing is that, Vipul, with this small program that we have of more than 140 people, this is going to go on YouTube, Facebook, and in our own way, we will be spreading the word.
The number, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, please unmute yourself, Vipul. Please unmute yourself. So Vipul, thank you very much. This message of nature and balance of humans with the diversity and what word we had used, Vipul, that the humans and the animals have to live together.
Yes.
And this is something that for people like us who only stay in the cities or who go for vacation only to very calculated areas, I would promise you that I'll come to Kanha and visit you and spend some time with you in the place which is your backyard.
Most welcome.
Yeah. So,
Farooq, when do we go there? I'm game. 4 of us will go.
Yeah, inshallah, we'll go here. So Sandeep, some parting words would you like to make so that we can end the program, Sandeep?
No, I think I just wanted to point out we had a lot of chat happening that was irrelevant.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
no. One thing, I think there is a way to turn these people around and really say, hey, just hang in here for a few minutes, and you will yourself will learn, because these are the people who are coming on chat box who don't have a direction in life. And it is part of Gyan Adab that we turn them around and say, hey, this is in your interest. This is your future, that these tigers survive. And we need to bring them in, cajole them in, and take that approach of educating them. I just want to thank Vipul. You know, this is the type of wholesome programming that Gyan Adab is bringing through Gyanpedia. And I think we need to encourage more such people. I'm already thinking at least 10 or 20 people who I could bring in from various branches of and different areas that could really bring the wholesomeness and true understanding. After all, this is about human survival of human species, and this is very important. So hats off to you, Vipul.
Kusum mentioned that
he says, if we can download, otherwise the investor only might have.
Who's speaking? I'm sorry, somebody just comes in and then speaks. I'm unable to understand. It's difficult to control 140 people, even on a webinar. Anyway, so Kusum Kukan says that my husband had seen tigers in the jungles of Bangdubi near Siliguri, West Bengal, when he used to work as civil engineer to construct blocks for MES. Sometimes the tiger would be sitting across the road and he had to divert his maybe Hero Honda and take another route. Anyway, so I think there are many people who have got their memories back, and thank you very much, Vipul. So with the permission of Vipul, would like anything to say, or
thank you, Gyan Adab, thank you, Farooq, thank you, Sandeep, thank you, Purva. It's been wonderful interacting with your people here. It's a wonderful platform, and I hope to attend many more such sessions in the future.
Thank you,
thank you, Vipul. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. I'm keeping the session on for a few seconds. If you want to write your comments or anything, Vipul, thank you very much, and we take your leave, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.